guys, it's me, Crystal Weber, again. Today I'm here to show you how, or what the heck, is kombucha. So kombucha basically is a fermented tea. We ferment it with what's called a SCOBY, which is symbiotic bacteria and yeast organism, bacteria, yeast, or whatever that stands for. It's in here and it's kind of gross. It's shiny, so you can't, the bottle's shiny, so you can't see it very well. But it's in there. There's 3 of them in there, actually. So first, basically, you just make regular tea in order to make your own. So we're going to do that. I use 2 quarts, so I'll fill this up quick. So I have 2 quarts of water, pouring that in, making a mess. And bring it to boil, just like regular tea. So it's going to come to a boil, and then we'll stick in a cup of sugar and our tea bags. So that is all for now. So as soon as it comes to a boil, I'll see you then. Okay, so our water is at a boil now, so I'm going to remove it from heat. Add our sugar. Add our tea bags. I use 5 tea bags, but you can use however much you want, just depending on how strong your tea you want. 5 worked really well for me last time, so I'm using this time. And this is just Lipton. But you can use, a lot of people use like a 50-50 mix of green tea and black tea. But you always have to have black tea in it, at least some black tea. Otherwise, for whatever reason, I haven't looked into it, but SCOBY doesn't grow as well or something when there's not black tea. So, but a lot of people like 50-50, like with green tea and black tea. I use Lipton. It's got orange and black in it, so I like it. It tastes good. So now it's just gonna sit and come to room temp. So it's really boring, but yeah. So now it just sits. Once it gets to room temp, then I will pour it into here and add their SCOBYs. So you can see what they look like. They're kind of disgusting, but they're really cool. It works really similar to how beer is made. You know, you've got live yeast in there that ferments the beer. Well, SCOBY's kind of the same way. And kombucha is like really good for you because of probiotics, and it helps with digestion. It helps with nausea mostly. So after our SCOBY, will sit in this for like 7 to 10 days, and then we add fruit. So you'll see all of that. My favorite is strawberry and blueberry with ginger. So we'll do that in a few days, and you get to see it. Well, it's a few days for me. For you, it's all in one happy video. So yeah, that's all for now. As soon as I come to room temp, then we will do the rest of it. So more waiting. Yay! And we're back. So I washed my hands really good, just so you know, before I do this. You need to make sure anytime you touch the tea or anytime you touch your SCOBY, you need to wash the crap out of your hands, because you don't want to contaminate it and get some nasty growth of something in there. So you want it room temp. A lot of times, you just stick your finger in there. If it feels normal, then it's probably good. Otherwise, you can use a thermometer. Room temp is around, I think it's like 75. So 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius, in case you want to know. So we brewed our tea. Hang on, I have a slotted spoon somewhere. Forgot about my tea bags. I need to get those out. one more. Maybe not. Alright, this should be all. Nope, there is still one in there. So it's really dark. The tea is really dark. By the way, if you want to make sweet tea, this is how you do it. Okay. So I've got our 2 quarts of tea. I'm going to dump that in here and I'll probably spill and make a big mess. I really need to invest in a funnel. There's our 2 quarts. Okay. Here's our SCOBY. Smells really bad. Alright, so. Yeah, so gross. This is a SCOBY. Oh, he's kind of. There we go. There you go. I'm going to put 2 of them in there at least. Well, maybe I'll put all 3, because why not, right? Yeah. Does not look delicious. You know what it reminds me of? Is like, I don't remember the name of the movie. It's like, I don't think it's called Puppet Masters, but Puppet something. But it was on Sci-Fi. It had these like nasty like praying mantis type looking things, and they would like attach to the back of these people and start controlling them. And that's what SCOBYs remind me of. Because that's kind of what they looked like. Or in I think it was Star Trek, they had these like things too, and they would zap them with their lasers and they'd fry. This one's my new one. That one's mine. So once they start fermenting, they actually like grow baby ones, and then you can separate them out. So if anybody wants a SCOBY to do this on their own, I have 3, so you can have one. You also want starter tea. It looks like there's another one growing in there. Because it's acidic from the previous SCOBY, so you just dump that in there too to help things along the way. It smells bad because it's fermented. It smells like vinegary. So there's that. The next thing you do, I use a towel. You can use cheesecloth. You can get like what do you call those? Flour sacks at Walmart. That works too. Oh, why? I was going to tell you this before. Why you want to make sure that the tea is at room temperature is because if it's too hot, you'll actually kill the SCOBY. You don't want that. So, yeah. If you want to just cover it, I probably should just invest in a flour cloth thing. Because the towel is kind of weird. It will stain, whatever. So, and make sure you use a white towel or cloth or whatever, because the SCOBY will actually absorb the dye and stuff, and you want to make sure that it's cotton, because if it's anything else, like it can be bad and contaminate it or kill the SCOBY. Also, you want to make sure your jar that you have the tea in is glass. Do not use plastic or metal. Metal will eventually make the SCOBY sick, and plastic, like there's icky stuff in plastic you just don't want to be drinking. So just use glass. So there we go. That is that for now. Meanwhile, this needs to sit and ferment for 7 to 10 days. In that period of time, you want to peek in on it every once in a while. Make sure that you're not growing mold or something you shouldn't. The SCOBY, when it starts growing like a baby SCOBY, I was freaked out at first when I saw mine because it was like white on the top and kind of shiny. I'm like, oh my god, am I growing mold? And I poked it and it was solid. It was a new SCOBY. So don't freak out about that, but if you do, like, you should be able to tell if it's actually mold. And if that's the case, if there's mold on your SCOBY, then you need to throw the SCOBY away. Actually, you know, they say that you can keep the SCOBY if it's just in the tea itself, but mold spores are mold spores, and chances are if it's in the tea, it probably spread to the SCOBY. So if you have mold in your brew, just throw it all away and start over again. So I think those are the most important things. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. But like I said, this needs to ferment for 7 to 10 days. And then after that, we will pour it into more mason jars with fruit to flavor it. So in the meantime, I'll just see you then, I guess. So peace out for now.
Guys, it's me, Crystal, and this is part 2 of what the heck is kombucha slash how do you make it. You'll have to forgive me. I'm still in my workout attire, so I'm really disgusting looking. So don't pay attention to me. Pay attention to what I'm doing. So right now, I got my jars out. We have spent 7 to 10 days fermenting our tea with the scobies. And so right now I've got my jars out because I'm going to put my scobies away in these jars and make what's called a SCOBY hotel. I know it's kind of corny, but that's the terminology. Also, I have, which I'm going to use, I don't know yet, I think maybe three jars for. And then I have one with frozen fruit in it from last time that I didn't actually end up using, so that's fine. And then I'm going to put fruit in the bottom of these ones as well, maybe a third. I don't know yet. It depends on how much I need. So I washed my hands really good. Like I said before, you're dealing with live cultures. So if you mistakenly have mold spores on your hands or bacteria or whatever, you could potentially transfer it to your SCOBY, make your SCOBY sick, transfer that to your tea, and make yourself sick. So don't, be careful. So here's what it looks like. I'll bring it closer. Kind of see. I'll pull the scobies out and then you can see better. Why did it change the lighting on me? My stupid computer does that all the time. Alright, so I think I have 3 scobies. You can see this is the top one. There he is. Throw him in there. It smells like fermentation. So it's not the most pleasant smell. Here's SCOBY number 2, and this one's gotten thicker since we've had him. They're so gross. Ah! It's good for you. Do it because it's good for you. Here's number 3. Oh, this one's really thick. And it's starting to get, there's a bubble there. Ew. So it's starting to grow a baby one. Yuck. Okay. And we'll throw this little sludgy guy in there. And then you want to pour some base tea in with them just to keep them moist. And then you can use that to start up your new brew. So making our SCOBY hotel. And you do, if you plan on storing them for a while, I would recommend just unscrewing the lids, because there's been cases of the jars exploding. I've never had that happen. I don't know anybody who has, but I have read about it. So, because they are fermenting, so you're building up carbonation, and you get enough pressure, kaboom. And that'd be a huge mess for you to have to clean up in your fridge or cupboard. So I crack it every once in a while, and it's usually a pretty good shh that comes out. So those are our scobies, and I can either keep them for myself, or I'm probably going to give 1 or 2 of them away to friends. They just kind of hang out in there, just like that. I know it looks disgusting. So here's our fruit. This has strawberries, blueberries, and ginger. My ginger went bad, so I'm not putting ginger in this next batch. Just strawberries, maybe blueberries. If I have enough, I might just have 1 more jar. It's really fizzy. get a whole lot out of this one. So I probably will start another batch up then. Shortly, because I didn't get a whole lot out. But that's because I have 3 scobies and I house them separate, so it takes the whole mason jar away. But yeah, that's that. And then I'm just gonna let it sit for about 3 days. And then we'll come back after 3 days is up, and I pour it into. If you want to try kombucha for yourself without having to make it, you can buy Synergy. It's the brand name that I prefer. This one's strawberry. But basically then I just tried what flavors I like so I know what to make myself. And then I saved the bottles because then I could just use the bottles for my own kombucha. Pretty smart, right? Don't worry. I didn't think about it on my own. Somebody else was doing it and I was like, oh, brilliant. Again, you don't want to use plastic or metal. So stick with glass if you can. I use the mason jars for fermenting in. You can use those and just strain out the fruit if you wanted, but I just figured this is the easiest. You know, less mess and whatever. Well, I'm just going to pour the kombucha in the next jar, and then I'll throw the fruit in. The fruit's still kind of fine. It's really fizzy already. It usually doesn't get very fizzy until... this is 10 days though. Last time I only did it for 7. They were 10 this time because I was sick this weekend and had some other things come up. So I didn't get around to it. But the longer it ferments again, the more fizzy it's going to be. So that's what happened. Yeah, strawberries or blueberries are getting pretty mushy. Still not mushy enough to squeeze. Alright, so word of the wise, put your fruit out a couple hours before you plan on putting in the kombucha. So they're nice and thawed. So I'm going to give it probably an hour and then I'll finish this. And I guess I'll just show you how I put it in there. For the ginger, some people juice the ginger when they put it in. I don't do that. I just cut it in pieces and throw it in like that. I was going to say, too, ginger is really helpful for nausea. I guess I don't really know, like, the chemistry behind why it is helpful, but it is, and I've noticed it for myself. There's a reason why people drink ginger ale when they're feeling sick to their stomach. There's a reason why they recommend ginger for nausea, for morning sickness, or whatever else. So, and kombucha is good for that in itself. So I had a friend who was actually dealing with morning sickness, so that's why I put ginger and the kombucha together. She really liked it. But yeah, so it's supposed to help with nausea. So if you have digestive issues, definitely a good blend. I like the flavor of it as well. It's not like super strong ginger. I guess you don't really need a lot of fruit. I mean, you can kind of see in this big jar like how much I put in there, and that's plenty to flavor. And that's like equal amounts of strawberry, blueberry, and then I put in, I don't know, like 4 inches of ginger, like this thin. Can you see that? I cut it like this thin and like probably a strip like that, and I just cut it into chunks and threw it in. But I mean, obviously experiment with your own. Maybe you love ginger and want a ton of it, so put that in there. Or maybe like you want way more strawberry flavoring. It doesn't really matter. The longer that you ferment it, the more vinegary it gets, the less sugar that there's going to be in the solution. So if you want something that's a lot more sweeter and actually has a little bit more sugar in it, maybe you only let it sit with the fruit for a day or 2. I usually only do it for 2 to 3 days. And then after that, I put it in the fridge, which I'll go over again. But I find that if it sits in the fridge for a longer period of time, it actually tastes better. Like the flavor of it just gets better as it sits. And it's, I would assume it's supposed to get more vinegary as it sits, but in my experience, that's not the case. Like it gets, I don't know, more flavorful of the fruit. Like just gets tastier. So that's all for now. I'm waiting for my fruit to thaw. Okay, so the fruit's pretty much thawed. So I'm just gonna squeeze it quick and put it in the jars for you. But well, basically just make a huge disgusting mess squeezing the fruit. So if you freeze strawberries, it's probably smart to cut the stems off first. I forgot to do that. Yummy. Squish them all up and get all those juices out. That looks pretty good, especially for that amount of tea. Help me, I'm bleeding. Just kidding, it's blueberries. So now that I made that huge giant mess, I'm gonna clean it up. My hands are really cold because they're still really cold. So I just needed 2 and like 3/4 of one. That's good, that's it. And then we're just gonna sit there for like 2 days, and then we'll pour them into the little jars and put them in the fridge. These just sit out at room temperature for 3 days-ish. 1 to 3 days. Alright. See you in 1 to 3 days. Hey guys, Crystal Weber here again for the 3rd video for kombucha. Here is our final product. I'm just going to drain out, you can hear carbonation in there. I'm just going to drain out the juice into my bottles, which I'm doing over the sink.
I gotta check you out here. Put your finger over it.
Yeah.
What you can? Cherries?
No, it's called kombucha.
What?
It's called kombucha.
I seen that in the jars and I thought, what have you made anyway?
Okay, so I got 3 bottles worth of kombucha.
What's it called again?
Kombucha. I'll explain it to you later.
Is it sour?
No. Nope.
That's the first thing I asked. I must get it from my mother because she did not like sour stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't either.
But I'm going to put these in the fridge now, and they will taste a lot better in a few days once they're cold. I think that is the end. If you guys have any questions, just let me know and I can answer them for you, or obviously feel free to Google. So now you guys know how to make kombucha and what it is. So, peace out. Oh, by the way, the lady in the background is my grandmother. Everybody say hi. Can you wave?
Oh yeah. Where was I sitting?
Bye, guys.